Every single person reading this has eaten rice this week. Maybe yesterday, maybe this morning, and almost none of them thought about where it came from before it reached their plate. That gap between the farm and the plate is where this machine lives and where the money is. A mini rice mill is a compact processing machine that takes raw harvested rice and turns it into clean, white, market-ready rice that people buy and cook every day. It removes the husk, polishes the grain, and produces a finished product that is one of the most consumed foods on the entire planet. This is not a new product you have to introduce to anyone. This is not a trend you have to wait on. Rice is already on every table, in every market, in every country where this machine makes sense to operate. You are not creating demand. You are stepping directly into demand that already exists and is not going anywhere. Let us go through the full picture of how this machine becomes a real and stable business. The first thing to understand is the scale of what you are working with. Rice is not a popular food. Popular is too small a word for it. Rice is the primary staple for more than half the world's population. In countries across Asia, Africa, and Latin America, a meal without rice is not really a meal. Families buy it weekly. Restaurants order it in bulk. Schools, hospitals, canteens, and food programs depend on a steady supply of it. When you own a mini rice mill, you are not entering a niche market with uncertain buyers. You are entering one of the largest and most stable food markets that has ever existed, at the local level where the real volume happens every single day. Now let us talk about where your raw material comes from and why that matters for your margins. Farmers grow rice and sell it in its raw, unprocessed form at a much lower price than milled rice sells for at market. That difference in price between paddy rice and finished white rice is your operating margin, and it is significant. In most rice-producing regions, the gap is wide enough that even a small daily milling volume generates consistent profit. You are essentially adding value to a raw agricultural product through a mechanical process, and the market already has a set price for that finished product. You do not have to negotiate what people will pay. The price exists. You just have to produce the volume to meet it. The next part of this business is who your buyers actually are and how you reach them. Your most immediate customers are households in your local area who buy rice weekly. Beyond that, you have small shops and grocery stalls that need a reliable local supplier. Then you have restaurants, food stalls, and canteens that go through large quantities every week and prefer buying from a nearby source rather than waiting on distant distributors. In rural and semi-rural areas where large milling facilities are not close by, a mini rice mill fills a genuine gap in the supply chain. Farmers bring their paddy to you for milling, you mill it for a fee or purchase the paddy outright and sell the finished rice yourself. Both models work, both generate income, and the demand that drives both never stops. Let us be clear about the cost structure of running this machine. A mini rice mill runs on electricity and requires a stable power supply and a clean, dry space to operate. The maintenance involves keeping the milling components clean, checking for wear on the rollers and screens, and doing basic mechanical upkeep that any local technician can handle. There is no complicated chemistry involved, no perishable processing ingredients to manage, and no elaborate setup required. Your input is raw rice. Your output is market-ready rice. The simplicity of that process is exactly what makes this business manageable for a first-time operator who does not have a background in manufacturing or food processing. Something that many people overlook when they first look at this business is the byproduct value. When a rice mill processes paddy, it does not just produce white rice. It also produces rice bran and rice husk as byproducts of the milling process. Rice bran is used in animal feed and has buyers in the livestock farming community. Rice husk is used as a fuel source and as a material in certain construction and agricultural applications. In a well-run mini rice mill operation, nothing that comes out of the machine goes to waste. Every output has a buyer somewhere, and that means your revenue per batch of paddy processed is higher than just the white rice alone. The question of who can start this business comes down to location and access more than anything else. If you are in a rice-growing region region or close enough to one that you can source paddy regularly, this business is within reach. You do not need a large facility. A covered workspace with a concrete floor, access to electricity, and enough room for the machine, your input stock, and your finished product is all the physical setup you need. You do not need a large staff. 1 or 2 people can run a mini rice mill at a production volume that more than justifies the investment. The business scales naturally because as your buyer relationships grow, you simply increase your milling hours and your sourcing volume. Here is what this all comes down to. There is an unpopular opinion in the small business world that says you need a unique product or a clever idea to build something sustainable. The rice mill disagrees completely. The most durable businesses in the world are not built on novelty. They are built on necessity. And rice is about as necessary as a food product gets. It has been feeding populations for thousands of years, and it will keep doing so long after every trendy business idea from this decade has come and gone. You are not betting on a trend with this machine. You are not hoping a new market develops. You are plugging into a supply chain that already runs every single day and positioning yourself as the local processor that makes it work at the community level. The rice will always need to be milled. The only question is whether you are the one doing it.